Hello everybody, this is Buddy with Midland, Texas. Yesterday I made a video called Paid to Identify Police, and it talked about where I found the pictures of the former secret police on my security camera after I returned from the hospital from being ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms gone for the attic on January 28th, 2012, and then noticed that I didn't have a police report showing me who they are, and then which I now know it was illegally withheld from me for 7 years, and because it had been falsified, had incriminated evidence on that police report. But anyway, I offered a reward. A private investigator identified them, and 2018, 6 years later, that was 6 years of death threats, repeated break-ins to my home, and people coming to me saying, "I'd sell that home if I was you," and because they've tried to terrorize me from my home because there's an underground facility in the backyard that was used for oil show parties where a young girl was murdered at in 2010. And then, of course, the previous owner of my home died right before I got here, the week before the 2008 oil show started. And so it's believed he was murdered here too. And then after I reported crime to the police, which we have some, corrupt police here, obviously. And then it looks like that's when the murder attempt on my life came. And so anyways, that was that video, and then I did a Facebook post showing the pictures, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to have the pictures in it, okay? And so yesterday I just ran through the pictures real quick, but this one has the full set, and that's what we're going to look at. And the Facebook post was this: they started the camera themselves, okay? And when I say they, I'm talking about the secret police, the former police that were caught on camera covering up this home invasion, premeditated capital attempted murder that they're actually suspected to be involved in. That it looks like it may have been police that tried to murder me in my home. And so anyways, here's there's a real short write-up. It says, the Windows system event log from my computer showed me that the police manually rebooted it at 3:15 a.m. on the night that I'd been ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with my phone lines cut. See, I'd crawled out at 10:42 because my phone lines were cut, to get, and miraculously survived, that murder attempt. They didn't cut my phone lines, sneak into my home and shoot me from point blank range, planning on me surviving. That's a fact, that wasn't just to cripple me for life. They planned on killing me. Whoever shot me planned on killing me, and we suspect it might have been some corrupt police. They did this to stop my camera, but what they didn't know is this is what started my camera and caught them covering up the home invasion and capital murder attempt on my life. We would never know about the secret police if it wasn't for that. If I didn't have them pictures of these secret police pictures, it'd be a whole different story, because these are not honest, good people that are going to admit to fault. That's all there is to it. They were caught in a violent crime against an innocent citizen that had been reporting crimes to them. They never planned on getting caught, and had probably done this 100 times without anybody suspecting they were dirty cops helping to kill homeowners who had reported crimes to them. It was easy money, okay? This was a miracle, and I give God all the praise and glory. And as I said in the video I made yesterday, I'm a lifetime supporter of police. I'm not a cop basher. I'm not even a cop hater. And I could be the poster boy for police corruption for sure. Because I was unfortunate enough to somehow become the victim of this extremely large group of corrupt police here, whose enemy is the citizens that report crimes to them, because they're involved in committing the crimes. That's really what's, I think, going on here. And that they're still, as far as we can tell, still police, which means they're still tampering with evidence, they're still lying on police reports, and they're still destroying the lives of good citizens that report crimes to them. That's all there is to it. That makes sense. Right? Here's the system event log. I'm a computer guy, right, or IT guy, and took care of a computer network for many years, Microsoft certified network engineer, etc. Okay, so I get out of the hospital, come back, and I'm trying to figure out what happened, and I'm looking at, and the camera that was in my bedroom was run by my computer. Okay, and what I see is there's a user-initiated log off. Well, that tells me that that was manual. That was on purpose. You know, somebody had to think about it. Had to do it on purpose. You know, and it happened on 1/29/12 at 3:15 a.m. User-initiated, so it was on purpose. And then you ask the simple question of why? Why would the police that supposedly investigating a home invasion, premeditated, capital attempted murder, on purpose, reboot this computer? And the obvious answer is because the camera was connected to it, and they were trying to disable the camera. See, they were withholding the police report, and they never planned on anybody ever finding out they were in my home, right? And I had told them about evidence being at my home. I was at the hospital, and the nurse had documented saying, there's proof at my home, and they're going, let's go steal that proof, and nobody will know, and then we'll just say we don't know what happened to it, or whatever. And but they accidentally started the camera, and what started it was when they rebooted my computer, because I had that camera set to run on to start automatically on reboot, and basically run as a service. And run as a service means to start before login. So all you had to do was reboot the computer, and you turn the camera on, and they didn't know it. You didn't have to log in. So their action to stop the camera actually started the camera, and they didn't know that they were being caught. And so here they are. You can see them planting my stolen phone behind my nightstand. We're going to see that in a minute. They're stealing evidence, and they're withholding the police report, so nobody will ever know that they're in my home, right? And then they scheduled a second entry, and as if that was the first entry, after they had already staged the crime scene of this murder attempt. So this video looks at the pictures and we didn't look at them last time, and so my first comment here was they accidentally caught themselves on camera on January 29th, but it would be 6 long years before we knew their names. Okay, and that's incredible in themselves. And I said that in the video yesterday, that secret police are illegal. That's Nazi Germany stuff. That's what the Gestapo used for the Holocaust to kill people. We can't you can't have that, and that's what's happened here blatantly. And it should have been a national news headline story. The first known secret police since Nazi Germany caught in Midland, Texas, covering up a murder attempt. Never has there been a news story like that, and there should have been. Because as we said before, if they'll do this to me, they'll do it to you and your family. You can bet on that. If you make the fatal mistake of reporting crime to them, that they're involved in. They did successfully disable the front outside cameras at 11:22 p.m. I called that at 10:42. Woodward and Naylor are seen showing up at 11:01, and then the front outside cameras are rotated to look at the house at 11:22. They successfully disabled my front cameras. And so they got them disabled, and they tried to disable the one in the bedroom and accidentally started. That's what happened. And then we know from the police report that 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were at or inside my home before this camera was disabled. And that's really important because they wasn't seen arriving on camera. That's how we know they come in from the underground trapdoor the ex-wife had already told me about, now removed trapdoor, and from where I've been shot. That's what makes them the top suspects for the shooter, aka would-be killer. Okay, and I would think it makes perfect sense that if that they should be investigated for the murder of Mike Lawhon and the murder of that little girl at the oil show party in 2010. Okay, Mike died the week before the 2008 oil show started, and so the same corrupt police need to be investigated for them other murders, and so. Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, Midland County Deputy Mike Naylor arriving at 11:01. The police report showed that MPD officers Davis, Diggy, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale were also at or inside my home before that camera was disabled, but they didn't come in from the front door. They came in from the now removed trap door from where I had been ambushed and shot. While I was in the hospital, they were pouring concrete, staging the crime scene, covering up this capital attempted murder. Okay. Here's the first pictures. When I returned from the hospital, I found these on my computer, on my security camera, okay? And these were in the bedroom. And here's the timestamp. They're timestamp pictures, 3:36 a.m. I'd crawled out just a few hours earlier at 10:42. Like I said, Woodward Naylor showed up 11:01. Davis, Dickey, Chadwell, Angel, and Hale are here, but they're not seen showing up, right? And then the front cameras were disabled. Okay, they tried to disable this camera at 3:15 a.m. They rebooted the computer to disable the camera, and that's what started it. And so that's why we have these pictures, and that's what messed them up. When I got out of the hospital and found these pictures, I mean, they're going, oh no, nobody was ever supposed to know that. Nobody was supposed to ever see that. They were covering up a home invasion, premeditated, capital attempted murder that left a crime victim crippled for life. That's why they remained secret for 6 years. Why I'm, living under the threat of death, had to save up disability money and offer a reward just to get them identified. Definitely Nazi Germany stuff right here. Definitely secret police stuff. The one with the bun on the head, April Chandler right there, and she's easy to recognize because there's only a couple women in here. That was the first sets of pictures, okay? Here's, and they're in order by the timestamp. The next one has to go 6 years after these pictures were taken. It was found out that the guy wearing the Midland K-9 police jacket was Chad Simpson, who was alleged to have murdered his wife, Sandra Simpson, and killed himself on December 15, 2014. That left 2 babies as orphans. His name had been omitted from the police report, and the question has been asked if he was going to snitch on the other secret police, so they silenced him and covered it up. And so basically the third picture that got taken showed this guy right here wearing a Midland K-9 police jacket. Well, I recognized that a couple years later. Oh, that guy's got a Midland K-9 police jacket. Maybe it is police because, at this time, there's no police report that I was given that we knew about because they were illegally withholding it. It had even been subpoenaed. I showed that in another video. They violated the court order and the subpoena to hide that police report, And so that's why we didn't have names. But once I did get it 7 years later, I find out 6 names have been omitted from the police report, which was an accident. Remember I said that yesterday. Oh, my dum-dum. Not your dum-dum. No, it wasn't your dum-dum. That was illegal, on purpose, criminal actions is what you did. You're trying to cover up this premeditated home invasion, capital attempted murder, left an innocent homeowner, crippled for life, and most likely murdered the guy that lived here before me. Okay, let's be honest about that, right? And so here's more pictures. Here it is, and that's what I'm saying. This guy goes on to murder his wife. Well, a lot of people's going asking, well, if he was arrested, would Sandra be alive today? Well, I bet she would be. Well, why wasn't he arrested? Because of obstruction of justice. That's why. Because of this just lawlessness that's going on. That's why Sandra Simpson's dead. 2 days before Chad Simpson was alleged to have murdered his wife and then killed himself, I posted his picture, this picture to my Facebook, along with the story called Rape and Murder, which was about the young girl that Angie had told me was murdered at the 2010 oil show party when she refused to prostitute. Angie was afraid to report that murder and told me that high-level police were also there. What do you want to bet? That most of these secret police were at them oil show parties where that little girl was murdered at in 2010, believed to happen in the underground home. Looks like one is in my backyard. See the picture I posted? That was onto my Facebook on December 13th, 2014. On December 14th, 2014, this guy wearing that jacket murders his wife and kills himself. Or that's alleged to be anyway. That's the best story we got. I had also added this story called Rape and Murder, and that's the story about the young girl that's murdered at the oil show party, okay, in 2010. And Angie McGee Hurley was there and told me about it. I tried to get her to report the murder, and she was afraid and said high-level police were there. I couldn't even imagine that at the time, but now it's real clear. I just couldn't even believe we'd have this many corrupt police involved in a murder, of this little girl that didn't want to prostitute. And 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 put yourself in her shoes, that little girl's shoes. They're like, you're going to prostitute or you're going to die. And who are you going to call, right? Who was that little girl supposed to call? Call the sheriff, call the FBI, call the Texas Rangers, call News West 9, CBS 7. There is nobody to call. Get a hold of the governor. Let's get a hold of Greg Abbott. Send him the evidence. Oh, surely he's a good man. Let's get a hold of Ted Cruz. Surely he's a good man. Nope, 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 and nope again. You got two choices. You either prostitute or you die. And that's basically what happened, and she chose death, And then here I come along, and I report crime, and they're going to kill him too. They're just kill everybody. And I ain't saying the police doing that. I'm saying we got to investigate. If the police broke the law, which they did, then they need to be held accountable, right? Here's more of the police, okay? Your timestamp picture, 338. 338. I had these 6 years before I got them investigated. This guy, I nicknamed him Glasses, okay? And he reminded me of the guy that was here on December 20th, 2011, 5 weeks earlier. That was when I was put into the back of that police car with a bag of marijuana and told, we better not be called to this home again for this stuff. And this stuff was repeated burglaries to my house, I believe, was connected to human trafficking ring. And once again, you can see April Chandler because she got the bun on her head, okay? And she's definitely a main player, no doubt about that, right? Let's go to the next picture, okay? I think he's probably a boss. He's over here pointing, right? These are all 338, 339. Okay. Here's a couple of them over here. Okay. And you can see this. That, like I said, they were secret for 6 years. This guy, he just having a good old time. Look at that big old grin. Like, well, we just shot a guy inside of his own home. We're covering it up. Nobody gonna know. Really, I'm serious, Right here, okay, we can see them. They didn't know this camera was going, man. And talking about a miracle, I mean, if you happen to be a Christian, not one that says you're a Christian that's trying to cover up murders, but a real Christian, then you're going to go, praise God, this is a miracle that they got caught on camera doing this. Nobody would have ever known if it wasn't for these pictures, I mean, literally, this would be a whole different case. This is a flash. Somebody's taking a picture. Rosie Rodriguez, maybe, I don't know, there's the bun on the head again. And here's the next one, and I have a write-up on that one. Stolen from my home was the voice recorder that had recorded the burglar alarms going off before I was shot. The ER nurse documented me telling Detective Rosie Rodriguez about it when I said, proof is at my house. I bet it's in that bag which Officer April Chandler has her hand in. It was checked into evidence 2 years later after I made a big point of the police stealing evidence that I told them about. Also stolen was my spare shotgun shells from my closet. They were taken because they were trying to keep anybody from finding out that I hadn't been shot with my gun. And that's what it would have done. So they're still stolen, actually. There was spare shotgun shells from my closet stolen. And then and what I'm talking about here's April Chandler with her hand in the booty bag. Okay, so she's filling up the bag with stolen property, basically. Here's Rosie Rodriguez, got a camera in her hand. Here's April Chandler again. And as I said, evidence was stolen. And that's what this was all about. This was about stealing evidence that I'd told them about, staging the crime scene, tampering with evidence, lying on police reports, and covering up a home invasion, premeditated capital Sunday murder. Really what they wanted to cover up is $1 million underground homes where they're having, oil show parties and murdering little girls at, right? And they wanted to cover it. I mean, because this is a can of worms. Not only is my home rigged with this hidden access, homes all over, I was shot with burglar alarms going on in my attic. Now documented homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, other states reporting people in the attic. It's widespread racketeering and crime. They've rigged homes all over the place. And who's the key players in here? The secret police. Who could shut down this crime ring? The secret police. April Chandler, you can see her real well at 347. What's she looking at? That's a good question. But behind here is where my stolen phone was planted. Okay, you're going to see here in a minute. Here's April Chandler with the booty bag. Okay. She's still a police officer. Is that amazing? Is that scary? I found my cell phone, which had been stolen from my home before I was ambushed and shot, planted behind the nightstand that MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez is leaned over. This is an important part. Based on the timestamps, it looks like Detective Rosie Rodriguez and Officer April Chandler waited for the other officers to leave my room before they planted my stolen cell phone. Rosie then made up a lie and said on a police report that I told her my battery was dead on my phone, which is why I crawled out. But the truth is, I had my cordless phone because my cell phone had gone missing, and that cordless was fully charged as I set it on the as it said on the charger all the time. I didn't say that. She lied about that battery. She was excuse making. And so Rosie Rodriguez knew that my cell phone was stolen. My phone lines were cut. That's what she was covering it up. And the point I'm making in here, once again, we've got April Chandler with the stolen evidence in the booty bag here, okay? And here's Rosie Rodriguez. All the other police are gone. Now, these are in order and timestamp, so notice that they waited till all the other police left. And two of the main players are Rosie Rodriguez and April Chandler. And then here you can see Rosie leaned over my nightstand, and that's where that stolen cell phone was planted. And then she goes to the police report and says, Buddy said that he crawled out because his battery was dead. No, Buddy never said that. And in fact, my battery was fully charged on my cordless phone because it's set on the charger. And the only reason I had the cordless is because my cell phone had been stolen, and she's planting my cell phone behind that nightstand. That's where I found it when I returned, and April Chandler's standing next to her. They have some very, very big questions to answer about this premeditated capital attempted murder. The last picture of the secret police was at 3:55 p.m. Okay, and so I want to show you here, and here's a good picture of Rosie Rodriguez. We found out 2 years later that she was lifelong friends with my ex-wife that I'd filed divorce on 5 days earlier, who had taken my life insurance books. Okay, and the boyfriend, or the former boyfriend of the ex-wife, is on record as saying that he overheard her planning my murder to steal life insurance. And if Rosie would have ruled my murder an accident, it was going to add $500,000 to the life insurance, and she knew that because the books were stolen. Okay, but the big prize is this home with this rigged hidden underground access and the underground facility in the backyard, underground home, $1 million underground home, where they were having the oil show party where that girl was murdered at in 2010. This picture right here, last picture is April Chandler searching my drawers. That's going to be kind of important because 3 days later was the second entry to my house, and this was going to be the only known entry. This is 3 days later. What happened was Rosie Rodriguez and another officer comes to the hospital with papers and wants me to sign a consent to search form. Okay, at the hospital. Okay, and I was like, man, I've been waiting for y'all because I didn't expect police to be corrupt. I wasn't expecting police corruption. I thought they were the good guys. Literally. And I still think most police are, but these are not good guys. At all. And it was all trickery because they had already been in my house and staged the crime scene, but they were pretending they hadn't. And I'm up there at the hospital wondering, why did you wait 3 days? Well, what I didn't know, they were pouring concrete, planting my stolen cell phones, stealing them shotgun shells. They were stealing evidence. They were getting it all ready. And now the second entry 3 days later was going to be the only known entry. I did get this police report. They scheduled the bomb squad. Oh, it's not safe in Buddy's house. We need the bomb squad. And what do you want to bet they didn't tell the bomb squad people that they had spent all this time in my home staging the crime scene? I mean, this was a con job. That's what happened. So here's the pictures from the second entry 3 days later, and the same camera's running. The camera was still running when they came back 3 days later on 2/1/12, February 1st. This was supposed to be the only known entry, as they didn't plan on anybody finding out they had staged the crime scene of this capital murder attempt. If they hadn't started that camera by accident, then they would have gotten away with this capital crime. The first picture here started at 10:04 a.m. on February 1st, and it wasn't a secret entry, as I got the police report for it. Okay. One of the other new people you see in here is Brian Racco or whatever, and you can tell him because he blew his arm off in a in a firearms accident, in a bomb deal or whatever. It was news. It was made the news where he blew his arm off in a training exercise or something. And so that we know who that is on the second entry. He wasn't here on the first entry. Actually, the only person that was here on the second entry was on the first entry was Rosie Rodriguez. I say that maybe Dylan Hale was there too, and I have to go back and double check. Okay, so here, this picture, I've made a point out of this one. This is Rosie Rodriguez. You can see her here, got her gloves on. She's all dressed up here, and it's all pretending. Like I said, she hadn't already been in my house 3 days before and was staging the crime scene, right? So she's all pretending that I'm a good police officer, And this is a dirty cop's what she is, dirty of the dirty of the dirty, And here she is pointing at the security monitor, and and I've said this before that this was my outside security cameras, and I think she's telling the people in the room, yeah, see right here, this is where we traffic the little kids and take them underground, for sex parties or whatever. I don't know that, but that's literally what she's pointing out on my security monitor, literally. Okay. These are the second sets of pictures. This guy, I'm not sure who he is, but we have a police report for this one. See, I was given a police report for this entry, and which was February 1st, and so that was part of the trickery was going on. That I was never supposed to know they'd been in my house on 129/12, except they accidentally started the camera when they tried to disable it. Notice this officer was searching my drawers, which April Chandler was seen searching on 129/12. Remember, I pointed that out, right? Last picture was at 3:55. What do you want to bet that he didn't know the police had already been inside my home stealing evidence and staging the crime scene 3 days earlier? Does that make sense? It's like, why do you have to search the drawers twice? You don't, right? The thing is, what do you want to bet? He didn't know that them drawers already been searched by April Chandler on 129/12. What do you want? Because that was the secret entry. That was the one where they were hiding the police report and stealing evidence and staging the crime scene. And so this guy right here, he don't know any difference. All he's told is some bullshit story, right? That made up lie to, and to try to cover up this home invasion, capital murder. It looks like it may have been police that shot me from under my home, right? I mean, to free a trap burglar or for whatever reason, because it was going to expose the underground homes, the parties, the previous murders, all the other homes that are rigged like this, And so here's this guy, and he's wearing glasses. And remember a while ago, I pointed out the guy wearing glasses. He looks similar, but, according to best I know, it ain't the same guy. It's just somebody else. And then the second officer that had arrived here when I was putting the backseat of that car with the baggie of marijuana on December 20th. I've told that story before, 5 weeks, and I was told we better not be called again here. Their names was, I'm trying to think, Trent. It'll come to me in a minute. One's Blake Bush, and the other's Trent. Something Trent. But anyway, that's what one of them guys was also wearing glasses. So here we go. There's Brian Rackow or whatever. Okay, standing over where the near where the planted phone was put. This is Detective Rosie Rodriguez, lifelong friend of the ex-wife. The dirty of the dirty, right? And that's it. Okay, so then I put their names in a spreadsheet, and this makes it easier. And I'm calling them out, I mean, well, you don't have their side of the story, buddy. That's right, because they ain't never spoke up. Let's hear your side of the story. I want to hear it. Why did a crime victim have to save up disability money, living under the threat of death, to get you identified? I want to hear what your side of the story is. You got that right. Identified by Empire Private Investigations in 2018, 6 years later. Okay, Rosie Rodriguez, April Chandler, Greg Chatwell, Tony Dickey, Marty Barrett. Dickey is a lieutenant. Marty Barrett was the CSI that picked up my shotgun, right, and checked in most of the evidence. Now, keep in mind, one thing I noticed was, there's no empty shotgun shell. Well, if I'd been shot with my shotgun, there'd been an empty shotgun shell, okay? And so 2 years later, after I make a point of it, I think Matt Davis checked in empty shotgun shells, right? Well, the empty shotgun shell would have been in the shotgun that Marty Barrett had picked up along with the live shells. So Barrett picked up my shotgun, and he checked in it as evidence, and he checked in the live shells from it, but he didn't check in an empty shell. Why? And and because it wasn't there, because I didn't shoot myself. It looks like it might have been police that shot me in my own home. Is what it looks like. Okay, and then you got a sheriff from a whole different county. We've seen that in that last video. That's now a felon, convicted felon. First one to show up. What do you want to bet he was under my home at the underground party when I was shot? That makes sense. Naylor's dead. Maybe he was murdered by the secret police. 2 months later, Simpson's dead. Maybe him and Sender was murdered by the other secret police. Crossing the blue line is very dangerous. If they were going to report these other secret police, I think it puts their life in danger. Can we all agree to that? Okay, so then I get the police report in 2019, and what I find out that there's only 5 officers here that were caught on camera that were on the police report. Okay. And then there's these officers that are on the police report, and they're not caught on camera, right? So I didn't even know about them till I got the police report. Matt Davis, Dylan L., Joe Ramirez, and Kenny Angel. And Matt Davis is definitely a major player. He's the guy that wrote on my, Matthew Davis wrote on my YouTube channel just a few months ago. He said, buddy, I stole the evidence and ain't nobody gonna find out, right? And that's what it looks like is Chandler gave him the voice recorder that recorded the burglar alarms going off the attic, and Matt Davis stole it, and then he quit the police force. Okay, and here's the second entry 3 days later, after they had poured concrete, planted my stolen cell phone, stolen them shotgun shells, and to stage the crime scene. And it was Rosie Rodriguez, Brian Rackow, Dylan Hale, Joe Ramirez, Todd Stanley. Okay, so that was the known entry. It was supposed to be the only known entry. And so, once again, like I did on that last video, I have to continually make it clear that I'm not a cop hater. I'm a supporter of law enforcement. Anybody that supports law enforcement should take a stand against police corruption, because bad cops give the good cops a bad name. They do so much damage to the trust of the public. And I said this yesterday, that most cop haters became that way because of some corrupt police officer that crossed the line, abused their authority, and now that person hates all cops because of this dirty cop, right? I mean, that's what happens, and that's why we need accountability. When police break the law, especially in a home invasion, capital attempted murder, we hold them accountable so the public can trust our police force. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. Merry Christmas.